Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is RemovableSanity, and today I'm reviewing Saints Row on the Series X, developed by Volition and published by Deep Silver. There is no getting round it. The game has been brutally criticised recently, and whilst I don't want to dispel any reviewers' take on the game, it did leave me wondering if the game is as bad as is claimed, or is there just a bit of a hate bandwagon going on? No better way to find out than play it myself and give you my honest thoughts. So here they are. Saints Row is a reboot of the original 2003 franchise, which takes place in the fictional city of Santo Ileso and follows a new game called The Saints. The premise is you take control of a boss of a group of friends who, after some disastrous events, decide to become a new gang working to take over the Santos Ilesos from those currently reside. The game boasts the biggest and best Saints Row playground ever created within the fictional city of Santo Ileso, a larger-than-life sandbox of thrilling side hustles, criminal ventures and blockbuster missions as you shoot, drive and wingsuit your way to the top, on your own or with a friend. First up is accessibility. With regards to accessibility, I have to congratulate Volition, whom have gone out of their way to make this game the most inclusive game there is, at least in terms of accessibility. They have even gone out of their way to add its own tab with a plethora of options in helping those with disabilities get the very best out of this game, subject to the individual needs. Options for automatic quick time events, vehicle speed, objectivity, stick dead zones, button remapping, subtitles, high contrast, UI mapping, reticle settings, critical speech and ambient world noise options are just to name a few. Without a doubt, there is so much in there. This should be used as a template for all games and should be applauded for their in-depth commitment to making the options available, allowing this game to be played by the widest audience possible. Next up, gameplay. The gameplay starts with a short cinematic cutscene showing you as the boss being visited by a shady character requesting to do business at the Saints hangout during a huge party. This then sees things go very wrong and switches to a few months earlier of said event, where the game truly starts. Here you start working for a military security company, with the basics being spelled out as you make your way through a pretty fun set piece. However, after one bad mission, you are fired, and this is where the true legacy of the Saints start, as you decide to build your own empire. You find yourself some new digs, and soon you'll be able to take on side hustles, open business fronts that generate regular cash, and take over territory. To tie all this together is your trusty group of close friends and unique supporting characters that you meet along the way. Now, Saints Row stories are never Shakespearean tales that dwell on your minds years after playing them, but still, the main story here is at best forgettable, with the writing being the spearhead of its issues. For me, the characters themselves were void of any in-depth personality, and at best annoying and cringy rather than interesting and engaging. And a big part of this is due to the lack of the group's general background history, which is almost non-existent. Now, when some of it is showcased, it's normally within a few throwaway lines that feels like it's forcing you to empathise with said character, which does the complete opposite. I never felt connected in any way with this group, and after the many hours I've spent playing this, I still couldn't tell you anything about them, including their names. I'm sure I read from an interview that the writer's main motto was to ensure that the original series' over-the-top, often politically incorrect writing that was well known to attack everything including its competitors was changed to ensure it did not offend or harm. The problem with this is offending is individually subjective, and removing all risk of that can reduce any engaging conversation or story to nothing more than a lifeless technical report. Now, I can understand the reasoning behind this, and that it comes from a place of good intent. However, by removing that spice from the game and trying to appeal to a broader audience, it does feel as if the soul of the game has now been removed too. It's like the game has been watered down to the point where it feels like an average open world game, but with the Saints Row name just tagged on. That's not to say there isn't any fun here to be had. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It has a vast swathe of silly side quests, collectibles, carnage, and tempered craziness in which you can spend many an hour simply having fun. Whilst the big set pieces reside within the main story missions, there are some funny side hustle missions that are equally as entertaining and show off the original Saints Row style. One of the best missions I found is about a quarter of the way in, and it's a mission centered around LARPing. It is as equally stupid and silly as it is engaging, and showcases off some of the over-the-top exaggerations when NPCs die that any true LARPer would recognise and smile at. But there is also quite a bit of bloat here within the mission structure as well. Business ventures suffer the most from this, with a lot of okay missions being repeated way too often for my liking, in a bid to get the venture hitting its highest cash generating tier. Driving a selection of toxic barrels to a secure location whilst being rammed into from every direction is great once or twice, but any more than that it can get boring real quick. It's also a shame you need to complete a lot of these ventures in a bid to progress the story, which can add to the frustration. The main aspect of the game is its gunplay, which I personally found overall to be pretty smooth and enjoyable, but there was some hit detection issues when in the heat of larger battles. Speaking of battles, you are never limited to what you bring to them, which depending on the arsenal can wildly affect your gameplay. Combine this with the ability to upgrade almost everything in your arsenal, including vehicles, with often silly but humorous perks, your playstyle can easily be a case of, let's see what this does. This ethos also seems to have crossed over into the character progression system, with powerful perks being granted as you earn more experience. These can be customised to a particular button that, once charged using the game's flow system, can be used when needed. This also feeds into the instant kill / health regen system, which can only be activated again when you have enough flow, rather than previous titles of when you felt like it. It soon becomes a dance to kill enough people to activate a perk or instant kill, whilst avoiding as much damage as possible, and that dance can be fun, if a little bit hectic in the bigger battles. One of the best parts of this game was its new base customization, in which you can find collectibles around the world slightly flickering in blue and take a photo of them using your phone. These are then sent to your base, which you can then place them anywhere where there is the option to do so. You can also use your phone to see what collectibles are missing and a hint of its location. I will admit I spent way too much time doing this in a bid to get the right feel of my base. Another big part of the game is its driving, and I can say here everything was top notch and felt well done. Different vehicles did feel different enough in their handling, and the ability to go from driving to riding onto a roof before wingsuiting your way to another vehicle never gets old. As I said earlier, vehicles also have a unique ability which can be unlocked by doing its minimum requirement, one I would suggest you do. These perks do provide another level of fun, as different cars do have vastly different abilities. One might slash an opponent's car's tyres, do a double flip, or an ejector seat you out, all with the simple press of a button. Now, I was lucky enough to play the game before and after the day one patch, and I can say it was vastly more buggy prior. However, there are still some game-breaking bugs that will mean you have to restart missions, or part of the game mechanics stop working until you close down the game entirely and reload. These are more rare now, but I'd be lying to say they have gone completely. Overall, whilst these technical issues did impact my overall gaming experience, I did manage to still enjoy a lot of what I was playing whilst ignoring what I didn't. Next is graphics. The game's visuals do have a Fortnite sort of style, but for me this design choice isn't an issue. One of the benefits of being a regular indie game reviewer is you realise looks aren't everything. The overall environmental design worked beautifully depending on where you was looking, and it wasn't too close up. If you looked into the windows directly, these would often be populated with a JPEG style interior, which did feel a bit retro for my liking. I was more enamoured with the backstreet local artworks, and depending on the time of day can produce some stunning vistas. Weather effects, though, I felt was a little heavy-handed. With fog or dust storms coming in, they would literally blind you to your surroundings. But by far the biggest issue, even after a day one patch, is the pop-in. It's everywhere from cars, trees, people and buildings, and is most noticeable when driving. It can turn large swathes of the streets into an almost vacant apocalypse setting in the blink of an eye, and I was often riding down completely empty streets in some cases. Regarding empty areas, the game also seems to have gone backwards with these interactable elements, such as ATMs, casinos, and even pedal bikes being more as a static placeholder. What has been upgraded though is the level of personal cosmetic customization in the game. There is nothing here you cannot change to suit your personal tastes, from mascara colour to the tone of your arsenal and base. It's glorious, and whilst I did have the odd bug that kept switching my clothes to what I hadn't purchased, there is enough variation to keep even almost the pickiest person happy. On to the sound. For this game, the general sound quality is one of the better aspects of the game, and has been a plethora of fun, unique, upbeat and enjoyable soundtracks that you can listen to, ranging from electronic to country music. As you progress, you get the option to choose your playlist from your phone, with missions then adding to the list as you complete them. All are worthy of listening to, and more often or not I would put on my favourites and just head out. It also has radio stations that play individual genres and is hosted by different NPCs. Now these also react to the player's achievements in the game via newscasts, which can also be re-listened to in your phone's playlist app. I did get a bug where it wouldn't load the playlist for a few hours, but a full game reset sorted this out. Everything here is also fully voiced, and putting aside the horrendous dialogue, the actors did a great job working with the script they were given. You really did believe the characters in question thought the cringe-worthy lines were actually funny.
Well, I survived being shot, and now I want to thrive without being shot again.
Nina's down. Kev's down. Snickerdoodle is definitely down.
Oh, do not bring her into this.
Eli, this cat suffers no fools. And neither should you.
Ugh.
Is that a yes?
Ambient sounds and weapon sounds also was good and did the job that was needed. Explosion sounds good and weapons do sound punchy. I would say though that the game overall does sound a little too quiet even on max settings. Again here my recommendation would be get a good quality headset or soundbar to really allow yourself to experience this at its most engaging. This leads me on to the rating of the game. Now I rate games in order of avoid, on sale, great purchase and must own. My rating for Saints Row is on sale. In its current state, for me, considering its top tier price, it is just a bit too bland for a Saints Row game. In the versatile culinary delights of the unique open world genre, it's become mashed potato. It has lots of fun moments, but these are often hampered by technical issues, too many repetitive missions, and a not so great writing. Which actually is a shame, as I can see the potential for a very unique and engaging game than what is sticking out of its paint-by-numbers surface. Whilst the main storyline is fixed, I believe adding in a plethora of spicy, engaging, over-the-top fun in terms of updates and DLCs would easily upgrade this from plain mash to a cuisine meal. The game is currently priced on Xbox at £59.99 or approximately $60, and depending on your skill and patience would give you about 25 plus hours worth of gameplay, which can easily double due to a multitude of side activities stroke business ventures still available, general open world carnage, and an end game mission that only appears once everything is completed. In the beginning of this review, I asked, is the game as bad as it is claimed, or is there a bit of a hate bandwagon going on? The answer for me personally is no. The game isn't as bad as is claimed. Yes, it is marred by some bigger than usual technical issues and a bit of a steep price, but the mileage you'll get out of this game will very much depend on the person playing it and their tolerance of those issues. There are much worse games out there, and whilst there is genuine criticism to be had, it does feel a bit overblown in the overall scheme of things. My personal recommendation is wait a bit and see if the developers will improve the game and add some more unique and engaging elements. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. I do hope you like this review, and if you do, please like, share and subscribe if you so wish. And if you would like to put some notes or even just a comment in the comment section, I do like reading them. Anyway, have a great time gaming, and I'll see you all again soon.